Hey, welcome back to Me and Jean 1963, continuing the work of my intuitive playlist. So this is the 5th video. I'm going to continue with these and keep numbering them up. I love teaching and talking about what it is to be intuitive. And as you know from working with me, and if you don't, please subscribe for more of these videos. I'm fascinated and always trying to answer questions from you. So a question that I'm getting quite often lately is the timing, divine timing. You know, we've talked a lot about how the information is coming through. Today, I'm going to be sharing stories about divine timing for those of you who are looking to make a connection and wanting to connect to spirit. Stay watching because this video is going to be for you. I'm going to share some beautiful stories about divine timing and kind of teach you that aspect. And then the other thing that I want to talk about today in this aspect of this video is, well, who's the information coming from? You know, do we have to assume it just has to be right from spirit? What happens if it's a Facebook post, something, a sentence in a book that you're reading, a song that comes over the radio, a friend offers you advice and you didn't even ask for it? How do you know that spirit isn't coming through that way? We're teaching you how to be tapped in, tuned in, right? So can't we assume that a lot of the messages that we're getting are from maybe even a stranger? That's what we're going to talk about today. So stay watching. That's coming up next on my channel. Hey, thanks for staying clicked in. We're talking about divine timing. When messages come through, when our prayers are being answered. And I will clearly state, and I absolutely feel that for every prayer I had for myself, let's say I was praying and I was like, dear God, help me, get through this, or no matter what I was praying, God's prayers came in somewhere around here. So I just want to say that if you're not asking for help and you're not being opened and you're not opening your eyes to what is out there for information, and you think it only truly can come from spirit, then you might be looking a little too hard. That spirit comes through in so many aspects, in so many ways, and our prayers are always being answered. Okay, so I'm going to share 2 stories today about divine timing in my life that really, if they hadn't happened, I don't actually think I would be where I am today. I had been praying earlier that day, and for those of you who have lost somebody, I'm sure this prayer will sound familiar. Looking for a sign to let me know that where my daughter was okay. What was happening when I got back to work is every time somebody showed up in my office and started to tell me that they were in the wrong place, that was what the one thing that most of the messages coming through for me had in common. So this day, this particular day, this gentleman came in, and well, this gentleman took me through your classic near-death experience. And as he was telling me, he kind of had his head down and I was just mouth down listening. First time I'd even heard of this. I didn't even know that it's something that could happen and had taken place, and there was documentation. And now I have this gentleman in front of me. Well, what was fascinating about his story is when he finished, he kind of lifted his head up and there he was, tears streaming down his face. So, I looked to him and I said, I'm so grateful. Thank you, Lord, for the prayers being answered. I'm so grateful that you shared this story with me today, but I'm really curious, why are you crying? And he told me the reason that he was crying was that in his experience, the place was so beautiful. He was told to come back, but he really wanted to stay. And so in his experience, he was experiencing such joy of being there. Now, I will tell you, that is all my prayers being answered in one full, beautiful connection with this man. And I never saw him again. He walked out of that office. I never got his name. I never saw him again. Was he spirit form? I don't care. All I will tell you is that was divine timing. Do you agree? I hope you do. Okay. story I'm going to share is about a beautiful mentor in my life who changed my life, and so I'm going to tell you her name, beautiful Nan-Obrien. So, what you don't know, a lot of you were connected to Nan, and it started between Nan and I, because the groups and the people that we had from that, right, at the same time, divine timing with Nan and I. Nan had come into the bank, once again told me she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but just happened to stop by. And of course, she was totally tuned in, tapped in, and she was told when she was riding, you know, that's the bank. So she came up to my office. At the time it was a cubicle, no doors. And of course, let me set this up and tell you what I was doing. I was so busy at work. I had my monitor turned just to me so my coworkers wouldn't see. I was grieving so bad that day, and I had Google searched a local medium for connection. I was looking to find somebody in our area that would help me and make a connection to my daughter because I was struggling. So this is what I was doing when Nan-Obrien walked in. Remember, there are no coincidences, and prayers are being answered. So Nan stood in my doorway, and she told me simply that, yeah, she was in the wrong place. And I sort of perked up. She tried to tell me that she needed my time. And of course, me being too busy looking on the internet and grieving, I was trying to push her off on another one of my coworkers who was more available than I was. And as I tried to say, well, could you have a seat and I'll get someone for you, she kind of pushed a little harder and said, no, I really think it's you that I need to talk to. So Nan starts to talk to me about her story and about who she is and what was going on in her life. One conversation to another. Next thing you know, the connection had been made, and she told me straight up, this is who I am, which was a local medium moving to the area, looking to, expand that aspect of her work. Well, we turned to her, turned my monitor, over so she could see, and we both knew right there in that moment that her and I were going to make a beautiful connection. And I won't go into detail about all the things that Nan said that day, but here's one thing Nan said to me. She said, do you realize that you're intuitive and that you end up doing this work someday? It meant nothing to me. Guess what? Yeah. You know the end of that story. It means everything to me today. Could not be where I am today, would not be doing this work if I hadn't made that connection. And remember, all prayers are being answered. I'd like to end with just an intention or a favor or a blessing for you. If you're trying to do this alone, stop the madness. There is so many people in front of you. You're praying, and be open and be aware that those people are showing up, and everything is divine timing. This is Jeannie Lynch. There'll be another video right behind this one. Continue this series with me, enjoying this whole beautiful playlist. Thanks again. Namaste.